Hey everyone, Walter TGB back here with another travel guide, and today we're going to be going to Belgium, to what is, according to most people, its #1 best tourist destination, Bruges, also often called the Venice of the North. This is of course mainly due to its old architecture and many canals, but it might also entail some heavy negatives and positives for the city. As you would probably know if you've seen my Venice travel guide, I really like the city overall and most of its attractions, but also think it has a huge issue with over-tourism. So is Bruges in the same boat? I'm not a fan of crowds, and Bruges has a lot of them, but the question I want to answer today is, does it offer enough cool stuff to see and do to make up for that over-tourism problem? The first area you'll want to check out is the Minnewater Park and the Begijnhof. The Begijnhof is an area that nuns used to stay in, and you can find them in so many towns in Belgium, as well as a lot of Dutch towns. There's one in Amsterdam, and there's a very famous one in Breda as well. So these are very common, but the one in Bruges I thought is particularly beautiful and picturesque, especially on a sunny day. The Minnewater area is full of natural beauty and a bridge that is supposedly has the power to make love last forever if you cross it with your significant other or some stupid nonsense like that. I would say don't waste your time with that unless you're headed for a really nasty divorce, in which case you might want to take the opportunity. As you walk into the city, one of the first things you'll be able to see is the Sint-Jans Hospitaal, which is an absolutely beautiful building. It used to be a church, but then was turned into a hospital back in the day. So it has a really unique history and a really unique vibe, and there are quite a few interesting things to find here, but if you're short on time, I wouldn't say this is a priority. I had fun with it, I thought it was somewhat interesting, and I don't feel like I wasted my time here, but there are cooler things to see here, so unless you're going to spend almost a whole day in Bruges, then maybe spend your time on other things. Although I will note, I am a particularly fast traveler, but it only took me about half a day to see all of the stuff that I'm going to tell you about in this video. So maybe after all, you can see this even if you think you are short on time, because all of the stuff in Bruges, even though there is quite a lot of it, is really close together. Case in point, if you basically just cross the street from the Sint-Jans Hospitaal, then you're at the Onze Lieve Vrouwenkerk, a pretty beautiful church that I did not get the opportunity to go to the museum part of, but it seems pretty cool, so you might want to spend a decent amount of time here. It's not the best church in the world or anything, but it's rather impressive, and I definitely recommend checking it out. Then we have the residence of an aristocrat, the Goedhuizen Museum. It's not the coolest thing in the world, but it's relatively interesting, has some unique things to check out, and best of all is at the end of the tour where you'll see this really cool room that was built by the person living there so that they could view right down into the Onze Lieve Vrouwenkerk without having to leave their house and could basically pray from home. It's kind of a cool idea. Then we have what is, in my opinion, the first really must-see attraction in the city of Bruges, and that is the Sint Salvator Cathedraal. This is a massive church with a design that reminds me of the likewise amazing cathedral in 's-Hertogenbosch in the Netherlands. This is a total must-see. I think it's better than the other church here in Bruges, and I really think you can spend a decent amount of time here because there are a lot of little details that you can just get lost in, whereas the Onze Lieve Vrouwenkerk feels a little bit more polished and a little bit less unique and intricate. The main square and old town area is absolutely beautiful, and though it would be more beautiful without all the crowds, you can still appreciate it quite a bit, especially once you get to the striking town hall building. And you can also check out the belfry. This is just a tower that you can climb up to get great views, which I didn't do because I have trauma from climbing the church tower in Groningen and I never want to relive that. But if it sounds like your cup of tea, then go for it. In any case, the architecture here is absolutely beautiful, and I totally recommend buying tickets to go inside the town hall and check out its amazing Gothic room. It really is kind of just this one room that you're going to check out here. I mean, there's a second one with a very detailed history of how Bruges came to be, so if you're interested, you can check that out too. But I think this is the priority, and while it might not seem like it's worth it to just see one room, it's absolutely beautiful. Not to mention you can get a combo ticket and go to the Liberty, which is right next to the town hall, which is not only a beautiful building from the outside, but also has a really, really cool room inside of it that you can sit in and just kind of take it all in. Another absolute highlight is also right next to the town hall, and it's the Basilica of the Holy Blood, which has two different chapels. The one on the bottom feels really cool and almost like it was built into a cave, and then the top one is a beautiful, striking, yet small Gothic chapel. This is a really unique attraction, and it really is kind of a symbol for the city of Bruges that's absolutely worth checking out. There's also a famous art museum, the Groningen Museum, if you're interested in that, and most people like to just spend their time here looking down the canals and at all the bridges and at all the architecture, and it is definitely quite pretty. I might be a little bit less amazed by it because I live in the Netherlands, so I'm constantly surrounded by canals, so they're not that special to me, but it is an absolutely beautiful city, and with all of this stuff to do, I think it's worth spending half a day in Bruges like I did. You don't have to spend all that much time here, really, to see everything because everything's so compact, which is really convenient. But if you want to flesh out your day further, I have the perfect day trip for you from Bruges. In the coastal town of Oostende, which is not too far from Bruges, you'll find the Raversijde Atlantic Wall, which is a massive open-air museum where you can explore parts of the Atlantic Wall, which was a thing built by the Nazis in World War II. It was a defense line that existed along the Atlantic coast, stretching from France all the way up to Norway. There's actually one of these here in The Hague that's kind of cool, but the one here in Belgium at the Raversijde Atlantic Wall is way cooler. Exploring this was an amazing experience. I enjoyed every second of it, and it is probably one of the coolest things you can do in all of Belgium, if you ask me. If you have the means, do not miss out on this. In fact, I would go so far as to say that seeing this is actually more worth it than seeing Bruges, even though I do really like Bruges and it has some awesome things to offer. So if you have a limited amount of time, I say prioritize Oostende. But that's going to do it for today, everyone. I hope you enjoyed. I hope you enjoy your time in Bruges if you're planning to go there. And if not, well, then I hope you got a new idea of where you might want to go in the future. Thank you all so much for watching, everyone. Be safe and goodbye.